Picture an employee who clocks 12-hour days, answers emails at midnight, and sacrifices their weekends. They never turn down a project because they believe that extreme effort is the only guaranteed path to the top. Now look at their colleague down the hall. This person logs off at 5, projects a calm confidence in meetings, and somehow secures promotions faster than anyone else. Who do you think the company values more? The reality is that in a modern office, clocking endless hours is no longer enough to get ahead. But if the work harder belief was the whole truth, the hardest worker would always be the one at the top. Instead, many find themselves wondering why their massive output isn't translating into advancement. To understand why we fall for this, we have to look back at our conditioning, specifically the linear formula we are taught as children: effort equals reward. Schools and parents actively reinforce this. They praise the sheer volume of time you spend studying, leading us to believe that the more we struggle, the more we deserve to win. The tension hits when we carry that schoolroom mindset into a corporate ecosystem that operates on a different logic. It leads to the frustration of watching a less exhausted colleague rise through the ranks while you feel trapped in the same role for years. We ask ourselves, am I not working hard enough? But the corporate world evaluates performance using a different set of metrics than a classroom grading curve. Often, we are simply asking the wrong question. Organizations don't measure your exhaustion. They evaluate performance based on tangible business value, like how much revenue you helped generate or how many costs you managed to reduce. Think about it like hiring a carpenter. You want the one who can smoothly and rapidly assemble a high-quality chair joint with precision. As a customer, you would always rehire that efficient builder over someone who spent 10 hours struggling to build a weaker product. This is how businesses survive. They purchase outcomes and results, not your hours, and certainly not your stress. In a market-driven environment, efficiency and measurable impact will always outrank raw, uncalibrated effort. This brings us to the performance trap. The illusion that being constantly busy is the same thing as being highly valuable. When you say yes to every urgent request, you risk becoming an expert at solving problems that ultimately don't matter to the organization's bottom line. Then there is the visibility trap. You might build an incredible solution that saves the company millions, but if leadership never hears about it, you won't receive the credit. Compare that invisible worker with an employee who strategically builds cross-department relationships and clearly communicates their achievements in executive meetings. Visibility isn't about arrogance. It is a form of essential professional communication. If your work remains invisible, it effectively doesn't exist for the people making decisions. When promotion cycles arrive, the effort you put in behind the scenes simply isn't part of the conversation. None of this means you should stop trying. Hard work is still necessary to build discipline, reliability, and the expertise you need to be effective. The real danger, however, is directionless hard work. It rapidly accelerates your exhaustion without actually moving you forward. It's like spending years climbing a ladder, only to realize at the very top that it was leaning against the wrong wall. When immense effort is disconnected from strategic business impact, it leads to burnout rather than progress. It is time to replace that schoolyard logic with a model that accounts for the reality of the market. This approach balances consistent effort with business impact, intentional visibility, and a commitment to learning new difficult skills. In practice, this means solving meaningful problems, developing skills that are hard to replace, and communicating your wins to build trust. Look critically at your daily tasks. Demand that you stop confusing mere motion with actual growth. Because at the end of the day, you have to decide, are you simply working hard, or are you actively creating undeniable value?